Hi there, and welcome back to the Girl in Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Lucy, and today with my lovely friend Stephanie Crosland-Goss, founder of Interrupted Art. Stephanie has worked for some of the biggest names in art, such as my favorite museum, the Tate, and she's recently started her own business that brings art to your home. Stephanie, thank you for coming on the podcast today. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm so excited to have you. So you guys might notice that we're not in a typical studio today. That's because Stephanie's business is so centered around bringing art to your home that I thought it'd be nice to have you to my home.
Thank you for inviting me.
Lovely art for so long.
I know, it's not my first time I've been here.
Yeah.
No.
So it's a nice cozy environment and we couldn't stop laughing to start this. So, shall we?
Let's.
Okay, so I'd love to hear where your journey in art began.
Well, art has always been a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Ever since I was young, I would come in to London from Hertfordshire. I grew up in Hertfordshire. And I would come with my friends on the weekend and go to like the big galleries, quite like what you would do as well when you were growing up. And that's, I guess, where my love of art started. Mm-hmm. I then studied history of art at school and went on to do classics at university, which some of the courses I did were about ancient art as well. And then loved it so much I stayed and did a master's where my dissertation was around art history, so classics in Victorian art.
Okay.
And then from there, I went into the corporate world, which was a bit of a U-turn. And then eventually, after 5 years of being in the corporate world, I was like, oh, I really want to get back into the arts. What am I going to do? Applied to do a PhD in Cambridge, because at that point I was like, well, to work in a museum, you have to be a curator, and that's how you do it. Got accepted into Cambridge to do the PhD. Cool. And literally the next week, this job came up at the British Museum, where it was in the consultancy department. So it was like a commercial job, rather than like a
kind of a
curatorial. Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow!
So you needed that art, like sort of classics art experience, but then also the business experience to be able to do this job. And I was like, this is mine. This is my job.
Cool.
This was made for me.
It's so funny that you say that because I don't have an art degree. I have a business degree, but art was the thing that I loved. So it's kind of like you had this blend of something that you didn't really like that was businessy. And then you blended it with what you loved, and I don't know. It's cool. I didn't put that together before, but I think it's kind of cool that you have like the well-rounded experience of just like plain and simple the business world. But the thing that you really love, you could then apply it and move forward with it in that way.
Yeah. So I sacked off the PhD, saved 4 years, and worked at the British Museum for a number of years in their consultancy department. So they would essentially sell their advice and expertise to other governments and institutions internationally.
They would sell advice?
Advice, yeah. So they would consult. So mostly to markets that didn't have much of a history of museums and galleries. So working a lot with the Middle East. We're building lots and lots of really exciting new galleries and museums. But wouldn't necessarily have the in-country expertise to be able to like build those galleries. Even like lux levels of lights, how to put exhibitions on, how to collect, how to collect collections, how to create collections.
Like the nitty-gritty of what it means to set up and run a successful museum and an exhibition in all of that.
Exactly, exactly. So the biggest project that I worked on when I was there, which was, this is a snappy title, the King Abdulaziz Centre for World Culture.
Oh, wow.
I know, rolls off the tongue. So that was in Saudi, so we did a really big project there.
And you went there?
And I did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in Dhahran. And it's an amazing museum that literally comes out of the desert, like these huge stones.
Wow.
And they've got like cinemas, theatres, galleries, and we consulted on 2 galleries there, which was super, super exciting.
Wow.
And then after that, the role at Tate came up, which was in a department they call collections development, which is art acquisitions. Literally developing the collection.
That's what art acquisition means?
Yeah, exactly. So bringing in artworks into the collection. So that could be through like buying them at auction or getting people to donate artworks, fundraising for artworks, those kind of things. So I went on to work there for several years at Tate.
Did you love it?
I loved it. I love both of them. They're both so different. As you can imagine, they're like chalk and cheese institutions. Yeah. But I mean, just amazing. The access that you get from both of those working at those institutions.
Access to see more art.
Yeah. Gotcha. And also so access to see more art. I mean, one of the things at Tate, or like even at the British Museum, you would go into like the stores and you can see these like amazing artifacts or artworks that aren't actually open like
the
in front.
Archives, basically.
Yeah, they're not in front of people yet.
I would love to go behind and check out all of Tate's archives and just dig through everything.
I know, it's really exciting, like these enormous racks, and you just open them up and you're like, there's like a Warhol.
Because you know everything's going to be good when you turn the page.
Yeah.
It's just a guarantee.
Yeah, exactly. So really, like, it's a privilege to work there. Yeah. But then also the people that you get to meet through working for those kind of institutions was fantastic as well. So these amazing collectors, understanding like how they collect, what they've collected.
Individual collectors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
did they come to Tate for that?
So in my department we'd work very closely with collectors, like international collectors of art, and also with philanthropists.
Okay.
Who would lend artworks or gift artworks or be very passionate about certain types of art or art from a geographical location.
Okay.
So they'd work very closely with Tate to bring in certain artworks to the collection. But meeting these people and having conversations about their collections or like their motivations for like why they're collecting, like how do they collect, those kind of things, those little insights were really, really, I don't know, it's just incredibly fascinating.
Because it's just a new story every day, because everyone comes with their passion.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the thing about, at least that I really love about the art world, is that you end up meeting people that are so, like, deeply obsessed with the same thing that you are, i.e. me and you.
Yeah.
You could talk for the whole world about one painting and just never stop. It's like, it's so invigorating to connect with people that love what you love.
Yeah, it is.
When it's such a vast topic as well. Like, obviously, art in some senses can be quite niche, because we all love art, but not everyone is obsessed with what type of paint was used on this type of thing and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, or even like completely different types of art as well, I could just love Renaissance and you just love, I don't know, abstract expressionism, from Germany in the 20s or, whatever it is, something really niche.
Because people do get a little obsessed with certain like niche bits of things. Like I did a video, a tour for Christie's exhibit, and one of the curators took us and walked us around, and it was so interesting because he was fantastic. It was honestly like the best art tour I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
I could ask all the questions and he let me touch one of the pieces of art, and I swear I feel like I should be in jail for that, but he did say it was okay.
I mean, that gives me heart.
It made me sick, but I did it anyway.
Heart palpitations.
It was a Hieronymus Bosch. It was painted on metal.
And you just went up to it and sort of rubbed it?
He told me, no, I didn't rub. Did no such thing. It was a tap. Because he went right up and tapped on it, and I just went, "What are you doing?" I yelled in a quiet, dimly lit
echoing
exhibit.
off the walls.
Oh my God! Especially being American, I was louder than everyone in the entire building. And he goes, "It's fine. It's an auction house. You're allowed to touch the art." And he did it again. And he goes, "Go on, get over your fear." And I went and I just did one little tap, and I just went, "Oh, I can't believe I just did that."
Yeah. Well, you're just like feel like a naughty schoolgirl.
Oh, for sure. When he was giving us this tour, though, he had a quite niche department that he was very skilled in. Forget exactly what it was called, but he knew actually a lot of the German artists that were in there, like Max Ernst and people like that. He was quite knowledgeable in. And as we were going through, there was another curator who was just kind of like popping in and out, just doing her own thing. But she would pop in and talk to us about certain things, and she had a completely different specialty. So what really fascinated me was the fact that this one exhibit had all these curators that were so deeply passionate about one little bit of art, and they all came together to create this one
sort of slither of history each coming in like
extremely cohesive.
Yeah, like a puzzle being brought together.
Exactly. And it was really cool. I loved making that video.
Amazing.
That was really great.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's those kind of experiences that you wouldn't necessarily have if you're not working with these kind of institutions.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that has really influenced what I'm doing now.
Yes.
Is the access.
Right.
So like being able to give people that access, and it's not just a privilege for the people that work there and are given that access.
Someone that knows someone. Or...
Yeah.
With interrupted art, can you tell us what that is, first of all?
Yes. So it's London's newest art membership. So it is, as you've mentioned, it's an in-home experience.
Right.
So we, when you join Interrupted Art, we curate a selection of artworks for you that you would get to choose from.
Cool.
Once you've made your choice of which artwork you'd like delivered to your home, we bring it, hang it at a time and date that suits you.
Cool.
We hang it for you and we talk through the artist, the artwork, how it was made, give you a little sort of synopsis of the artwork then, and leave it with you for 10 weeks. To enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you have it in your home, 10 weeks. If you like it, you have the option to buy it.
Cool.
Otherwise, it's just every 10 weeks something completely new will
And it really
arrive.
changes your space. Speaking from experience.
Yeah, it does.
It really, really does.
It can do.
Yeah.
I truly believe that art can change our home environments and also transform the way that we feel.
Yeah. How
You know.
so?
Well, if you look at... if we think about the artworks that you've had, that you've chosen for to come to be delivered to your home,
They're pretty different.
they're really, really different. But, you can go from something that's, really big format, but like very dark colours, contemplative, moody, it's almost a bit sort of dreamy. And that can really create a very soothing space for your home. And then the next one can come and it's just these... Really, this isn't an interrupted artwork, but, if you think about...
The interrupted artwork's on the other side of the camera.
But, these bright, vivacious colours that lift your mood and lift your home and your home environment. So every single time it can give you a completely different feeling.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to put a shot of the Rebecca Harding painting on in front. We tried to hang it here, but it didn't want to stay.
No, it's firmly over there.
Yes,
yeah.
She lives on that wall.
She does. So that's really, in a nutshell, I guess, what interrupted art is. And the ethos behind it is really to support emerging artists, but to actually support emerging artists. I know it's such a buzzword. There are so many art platforms, websites, apps and art fairs now that are just like, oh, we're supporting emerging artists, but actually what we're doing is we're taking in enormous commissions. And to be at an art fair, you have to put like £1,500 up front just for the privilege of being there. And then we will take a commission from you, that kind of thing.
It goes on with what you were saying earlier about access.
Yeah, it is. And there's just so many financial barriers to emerging artists, which is what we've stripped out completely.
Right.
There are no financial barriers to joining Interrupted Art as an artist.
Oh, it's really great.
You're invited to join. So we have a very curated collection that I've curated myself. Based very much on the experience that I've had in my previous roles. And also looking at the members as well to, making sure that we can give them access. So access to the artists, access to the art in their homes, not putting pressure on people to come to a gallery or to an art fair and then feel that. I don't know if you've ever had this, when you go to an art fair and you've had a couple of glasses of wine and you're walking around and you see something and you're like, oh, I really like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think, do I want to buy it? Oh, I don't know, it's a lot of money. Or do I want to do it? Oh, I don't know. And then you don't do it and you regret it. But the worst thing is that you buy it, you get it home, you put it up and you're like, oh no.
It's not your favourite thing.
It's not, doesn't fit the space, doesn't work well. What was I thinking, But it's because there's that pressure.
Yeah.
Buy it now or it'll be gone kind of thing. Whereas we don't have that.
Yeah.
It's yours for 10 weeks. No one else has access to it and it's just enjoy it. See if you like it.
If let's say that someone was interested to purchase but maybe they wanted to see more of the artist, they could come through you and see what other paintings by that artist they have?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So all of our artists have multiple works with us.
Right.
But even if you're looking for something that's different, we will always put you in contact with the artist and you can work directly with them. You can do commissions and things like that as well if that's what you're wanting.
Which is really fun.
Yeah. But then also, we can facilitate those kind of artist studios, go to see the artists in their studio and
That's so fun.
I know, it's really fun. And as part of the membership, we run regular events.
Yep.
So you can get to meet the artists. So we did one where we had the artist in an exhibition space right next to their studio, but we had them painting.
Rebecca?
Yeah. Yes.
That's the first day I met you.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was painting in the space. So you can see how her compositions are coming together.
Yeah. The underpainting and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the first time I actually met and spoke to Rebecca as well.
Really?
Which is funny because she was my first episode of the podcast and everything. So it's like now I feel like she's quite a big part of my journey in some way because she helped me start my podcast. But yeah, that was the first. I met you both on the same day.
Oh, our little threes.
So warm.
Oh, little trio.
Cozy.
And another event that we have upcoming at Somerset House, which is going to be great, is a survey show of all of our artists that we represent. But we're also doing these little sound booths where through a QR code in front of the artist's artwork, you'll be able to hear in the artist's own words about their practice, what they're doing, about these particular artworks that you're looking at. So you can get under the skin of it a little bit.
So it's less in some sense it's a guided tour, but it's a guided tour by the artist. It's less of a curated perspective and more of straight to the source.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And again, that's the kind of access that we want to give. We want to make sure that our members get to be as close to the artist as they want to be. Yeah.
So what inspired Interrupted Art then?
I think really when working at Tate, and we talked about this privileged position, working with very well-established artists and seeing how they move around in the art ecosystem. And then having lots, being very interested in emerging artists, having friends who are emerging artists and supporting them anyway, separately from Tate. Seeing those kind of barriers, which means that they're working 2 jobs, trying, they're incredibly talented artists.
The starving artist trope is real.
It's real. It's really, and the art world is not a hospitable place for emerging artists like that. I do feel like they're taken advantage.
High barrier to entry.
Of, exactly. Yeah. So that was really the starting point, and then on the flip side, having those experiences, going to I want to collect, but I want to see the artist. I want to go to their studio. Yeah. How do I find those opportunities? And there's no one that I can go to that's going to sort of
facilitate.
Yeah, just sort of signpost that kind of thing for me. So let's create something that is really interesting for people who are interested in art and collecting, but also that's something that's going to be really nurturing for artists.
And it isn't a high art kind of space. It's quite welcoming to anybody that just wants something pretty on their wall. It doesn't have to be anything specific. You just have to love what you want to look at in some ways, which is what I really, really love about Interrupted Art, because I'm very serious about the fact that it does not matter one single solitary bit if you just choose to like what you look at and that's it for you. You don't have to be deeply interested in the whole canon of art and blah blah. I can't stand that word. You don't have to think too deeply into it to appreciate it, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Sometimes it's over-intellectualized.
Yes.
So you don't, I am saying that you can have lots of information about the artist and the artwork, but don't have to read that if you don't want to. Sometimes you'll see an artwork and it's just because it captivates you. Exactly.
You want to just to see more nice stuff.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
I want it on my wall, or it looks nice, I've seen it in a gallery.
Exactly. And then
it doesn't have to have all those layers if you don't want it to.
And but then you have them because you start to probably get drawn into it because you're looking at it every day and you might want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or you might want to see a bit more of the full picture, and then you can kind of end up discovering, but you don't have to, I guess, conform to the typical art thought of needing to know the whole history. And blah, blah, blah.
No.
You don't need to know the context to appreciate it.
Yeah.
There we go. I think that's what I've been trying to say, is you don't need to know the context to appreciate it. And that's what's nice about Interrupted Art, is because it's there, but it's not a demand.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. I know.
It's for anybody to
completely
appreciate.
Right.
Which is what I think is so special about it.
Oh, thank
and what
you.
I've really loved about having it too is that it does change up the feeling in your house. Just that little twinge of something new, because my apartment's, it's not that big, but changing a little bit of the art really transforms the feeling.
It does.
Which is really special in a small house, because there's only so many places I could put a couch.
Yeah. Have it sort of, at a right angle against the wall.
Literally.
Yeah.
It can't be straight
It's modern
in the room.
art. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been nice, because the first painting that I had was quite dark navy blue. The one that I have now is pinks and greens and corals, and it lifts and it flows like with your mindset in a different way. And it's funny because I had that blue painting when it was wintry, so it kind of fit with the vibe. So I don't know if maybe I've done that subconsciously.
Do you think? Your mood has changed, so when I've curated a selection for you, you're like, oh, it feels a bit summery, so I'm going to go with something that's really bright and fun.
Yeah, because the second one, the one by the artist Phil, it was a collage, right?
Yeah,
call it a
yes,
collage.
it's a collage.
That's what he would call it.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. It's my fault. I was wriggling. Save the art! Save the art!
God.
Oh my God, is it
fine?
Oh.
I promise I'm more careful with your works.
No, it's fine. Compose ourselves.
I'm gonna laugh so much. What were we talking about?
When I subconsciously picking
right.
artworks.
Okay, so yes.
Because maybe it was the seasons, but you hadn't really thought about it.
Right. Okay. So, with Phil's work, the collage, that had the blues and greens and pinky kind of colors in it.
Yeah.
Which I think is what led me to Rebecca's painting, because that has similar colors, but this one's even brighter. So it's like I've gone from this navy to quite earthy toned pinkies and greeny kind of colors to very bright
Fluorescent colouring.
for summer.
Yeah.
So I think maybe I'm gonna pretend like I did that on purpose, but I do think that was a full.
So you're using
accident.
your art to sort of manifest seasons.
I think so.
Yeah, because this is like the first actual nice day that we've had.
Yes.
So this artwork, choosing this
It really
artwork,
suits.
has brought the sun. Mm-hmm. Well done.
Well, thank you to you and Rebecca for that then.
Well, thank you for choosing us.
Of course. Now, I have my favorite question to ask you.
Yes.
If you could curate,
Oh, yes.
and I'm so excited for your answer to this one. If you could curate any exhibit, no limits, no budget, no nothing, the outer space is the limit, what would it be?
I know you said outer space, and that makes me think of Shemaya when
Yes.
she was saying about doing it on Jupiter.
Who is the artist who did the blue painting?
Yes, and she's one of our interrupted artists. So I knew you were, obviously I've listened to all of your podcasts, so I knew this was coming, and I think I've given it too much thought.
Oh no.
So I've got too many options. So what I think I've settled on is that what I would really like to do is like a pick your own adventure kind
Cool.
of exhibition.
Okay.
So there are lots of different paths that you can take, lots of different narratives that intersect each other. But the way that it would be done is like it's on a desert island.
Cool.
And you're in a golf buggy. And you've got an art buddy, and you literally choose your own adventure. And there's like different spots that you can stop off.
Ooh, like a path.
Yeah, but there's lots of paths. So not everyone will do the same thing.
Right.
And the kind of art that I would want to have there is a selection of artworks that are in private collections. So works that people don't get to see. Because I've been to so many collectors' houses as part of Interrupted Art, but then also, of course, with Tate.
Yeah.
And you see these incredible artworks. Mm-hmm. You know, there's like a Toulouse-Lautrec outside the cloakroom. Yeah. And there's a David Hockney next to the fridge. You know, and they're in the private...
dream house.
I know. We'll move in together into that house. So I would select really amazing artworks from private collections internationally.
Cool.
And that's how I would make the exhibition.
I want to go to this exhibit so bad.
Wow.
I like that you're just kicking the door down going, can I have that Hockney by your fridge, please?
Yeah.
To put on a desert island.
Yeah. Don't worry about the humidity, you'll be fine.
Or the sand or the rain.
Yeah, it's fine. I know how to curate an
worry.
exhibition.
At
It will be
least
fine.
Hockney's still alive. You can make them another one.
Could do, but these are going to be artworks that are just one of a kind.
Like the
People don't get to see. Yeah.
I would love to. That is so cool to think about sometimes, is that you could be walking past a house and you don't know what magical collection of art is in there. I'm glad people actually hang them up.
Unassuming houses as well.
Yeah.
You assume that they're going to be like these cavernous,
grandiose,
huge
houses.
like townhouses, and you know, sometimes you'd go into a like a very ordinary looking flat, and they would have the most amazing things up, and they're all.
I hope that's.
It's like those cartoons where your eyes like pop out,
like the
you know.
Ooga.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that's so cool. I'm just imagining this exhibit now. I love it so much.
Give me a couple of years and I'll make it
I
happen.
wish we will. Maybe it's a Girl in Gallery Interrupted Art collab. Let's get looking for an island.
Let's start doing it. Let's start
All right, well,
planning.
if we have to start looking for an island, then I guess we should wrap it up. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a blast.